How are you, Stephen, today?
Nice to meet you. Yeah, I'm good, thanks, mate. Yeah, how are you?
Lovely, thank you. I would like to start by congratulating you on the amazing new album, To the Bone. Thank you for that. Thank you for us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
First of all, also like to thank you. We spoke together about 2 or 3 years ago, and it was a really fun interview. And so thank you for that. And asking about the new album, I would like to know what led you to this direction, because I can assume the previous two albums, especially Hand Cannot Erase, and also my personal big favorite, Four and a Half, were a bit darker, and you also were involved heavily in the mixing of, let's say, 70s dinosaurs. Yes, Jethro Tull. So I can assume you wanted to move from that direction and go a little more poppy.
Well, not necessarily, because I mean, at the same time I was mixing Jethro Tull, and yes, I was also mixing Tears for Fears,
Okay.
Minds, XTC. So I mean, I've been involved in mixing pop records and progressive rock records, and all sorts of other records too. So I don't necessarily think that was a deciding factor, but what is always a deciding factor for me is what can I do next that is different, that is a challenge, that will feel like a personal evolution to me.
Yes.
Even if the fans maybe don't all appreciate the change of direction, to me, the idea that I have challenged myself and I've done something which has a place in my back catalogue, which makes this album distinct from every other album. I think that's the overriding concern for me. How can I be excited? And I think really that's what an artist should do. An artist should say to themselves, how can I be enthusiastic myself about this project? Because if I can't be enthusiastic, then how can I expect the listeners to be enthusiastic? So the first thing for me is always, what can I do that will excite me? And this time around, I really felt like I wanted to focus on something which has always been there. If you know my work, you'll know
Yes.
that the melodic side and the songwriting aspect has always been at the very core of everything I've done.
Yes.
But actually to focus much more on that side of things and strip away perhaps some of the more conceptual rock elements and really for the first time focus on the art of constructing great, ambitious, sophisticated pop songs. And that was the challenge that I kind of set myself at the beginning.
Yes, absolutely. I must say you handled that challenge very well. It reminded me a bit because I was recently watching a lovely documentary about the Genesis and the evolution of all the members in the band. I still also remember my childhood. I'm not going to compare with the albums which are mentioned in the press release, but one artist from there is very, very close to me, and that's Peter Gabriel. When I was a little kid, my father, and still it is, a big fan of sophisticated, intelligent pop, and me listening as a little boy to Peter Gabriel albums. Later, also did some Phil Collins and all the other projects, Mike and the Mechanics, all the other projects of the people from the Genesis, but there were also artists as Sade, which I really have also big appreciation for intelligent and sophisticated pop. But my idea was that I can understand that you can write very quality, sophisticated pop, because you also have the qualities from the progressive rock and metal scene. So coming from the Genesis comparison, you can take from the progressive into quality pop. I feel the direction is very natural.
I think you're right, but it's a direction that not many people. It's a particular journey that not many people go on, and kind of do successfully. I mean, the history of progressive rock is littered with bands from that era that tried to make pop music and failed very badly. I think Peter Gabriel is a great example, and one of the reasons I think Peter Gabriel was not, to be honest, I was never a Genesis fan, so I only know really Peter Gabriel stuff. But what I do know enough about him to know that I don't think he ever identified himself with a particular style or genre of music, and I think that is key. That is the key to writing music which knows no boundaries. So you have this love of great pop music, you have this love of great pop melodies, and the kind of euphoria you can create with a great catchy chorus or any of those things. But you also see yourself as someone that can, draw on everything. In the case of Peter Gabriel, obviously he drew a lot from world music and African music, as much as the pop tradition. And I guess in a way I feel the same about myself. Not that I'm comparing myself to a great artist like him, but I feel myself also that I'm able to draw on all of these things that I have a genuine love for. Whether it's my love of a band, a pure pop band like ABBA, or an extreme metal band, or an electronic band, or a jazz music. I don't feel like I have any sense of musical parameters within which I have to stay, within which I have to restrict myself. And I think that is what you hear when you hear an artist like Peter Gabriel. You also hear that when you hear someone like Kate Bush, or Frank Zappa, or I don't know. There's other examples I can't bring to mind right now. But this idea that there are certain artists that almost seem they seem beyond the idea of being able to put them in a classification or a particular generic category. They just create their own universe. David Bowie is a great example.
Yes.
How can you describe what kind of music David Bowie made? You can't. The best way you can describe it as is David Bowie music.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately I would love to be recognised as the kind of artist where if someone says to you, what kind of music does Steve Wilson make? The best you can say is, well, he kind of created his own kind of musical world, and it's just Stephen Wilson music. And I think that's true of Peter Gabriel, and for me, that's why he is one of the kind of, the touchstones for me, I think.
Absolutely, and I believe you definitely deserve this compliment. And I'm glad you mentioned all of these genres, as it reminds me, as I wanted to talk about about the band called the Black Queen. It is an ambient synth pop side project of the Greg Puciato, which is a singer of extreme metal band the Dillinger Escape Plan. I spoke with him many times, and this is the album which I love the most for the past 4 or 5 years, my most absolute favorite. And I remember him saying that the most scariest moment in his life were those 5 seconds before he released the first song from that album online, because he was known from that scene. And I heard over the years many stories of musicians, might be possibly mainly from the metal scene, which had dreams and ideas about their jazz ambient side projects, but they were too afraid to follow their heart. So I'm just asking you, so do you believe that artists should follow his or her heart, whatever the direction is?
Okay, well, I mean, there's a few things I could say about that. Firstly, of course, absolutely. If you consider yourself to be an artist, then you have to be very... I believe one of the definitions of an artist is selfishness. An artist is someone who basically creates what they create, whether it's music, whether it's literature, whether it's painting, whether it's cinema, whatever it is they create. I think an artist is someone who is very selfish about the way they create that. And they do it ultimately because they have a vocation which comes from within. Now, if you want to talk about being, maybe we talked about this last time we talked, I don't remember, but if you want to be an entertainer, that's a very different thing. An entertainer is someone who basically looks at the market, identifies what the fans are wanting or what the listeners expect, and then you go and you try to give that to them. You try to, essentially you're creating a product to fulfill a need in the market. That's not me. That's not an artist. An artist is someone who it has to come from within. Now, the other thing I would say, I mean, I'm well aware of the situation you described to me about these people that are afraid almost to confront the expectations of their audience. Now, I think I must be slightly different because I love it. If there's one thing I love more than anything else, it's upsetting my fans. I love it. And to me, I couldn't wait. There's a song on this record called Permeating, which is very much my homage to ABBA and ELO and what I think classic kind of 70s pop, pure choice pop. And I knew, as soon as I wrote it, I knew it was going to upset some of my fans, the ones who had decided that I was a progressive rock artist, in inverted commas, and I couldn't wait to upset those people, because I knew if I upset those people, I was doing the right thing, and I was behaving in the way an artist should behave, which is you don't simply keep giving your fans more of what they want. You don't just give them more of the same. You have to confront their expectations, and in doing so, you do risk losing some of your older fans.
Mm-hmm.
But the smarter ones, well, not necessarily, it's not about being smart. I suppose the more open-minded ones will listen, and you will take them with you on that journey. Mm-hmm. And that, for me, is this comes back to what we were talking about with Peter Gabriel and Kate Bush, for example, and Bowie. This is what these artists did time and time again throughout their career and continue to do. And I think that's the hardest thing of all to do, but that's what you must do, I believe.
Definitely. Can you imagine this song actually opening absolutely new doors for you, and somebody on the other side of the world having this song permeating some, they're one of the top favorite pop songs, and dancing to it and singing it and playing it and repeating it 50 times in a row? Can you imagine something like
It's already happening to me. And it's great. I love it, because for all this talk about me wanting to be an artist, of course there's a little part of me that still wants to be a pop star. The little part of me, the teenage kid that grew up listening to Prince and wanting to be Prince, or David Bowie wanting to be David Bowie. There's still a little part of me that wants to be a pop star, So for me to have a song like Permeating, which, by the way, absolutely, I'm very proud of that song. Mm-hmm. For me to be seeing that now getting picked up by mainstream radio, mainstream culture, it's still got a long way to go, but I'm already seeing the effects of that song. And you know what? If it opens the door to my whole musical universe, to somebody that would never have discovered it otherwise, that may end up really liking it. Some of these people that are discovering Permeating now might end up loving The Raven That Refused to Sing, or some of my much darker records. Mm-hmm. So I think sometimes it's a question of just providing a door that somebody can walk through, something that kind of is an accessible way for them to discover your whole musical universe. Mm-hmm. And I think Permeating could definitely, and already is, definitely having that effect.
Yes. And from what I understood, it was always frustrating you that the sort of the bracket or the range of the reach of your music was not, big enough. I must say, I spoke to the guys from Anathema many times about it, and I must say I was always spreading their music to everybody from outside of the rock scene, absolutely, and people crying by hearing their beautiful music, including also your great work on the mixing. But they were always talking to me that they're frustrated that their music didn't reach such a broad audience. So I believe that with your new album, you can actually manage to fight that frustration and to reach the boundaries of your choice.
I think the thing is, what you've said is perfectly true, but I think you'll probably find that if you spoke to 100 musicians, 99 of them would say the same thing. Even musicians that you would think have a mainstream global audience, they'll still complain to you that they think that their music should be more appreciated, and that more should be more listened to. And also, lest we forget that we live in a world now where rock music, or in its widest possible sense, rock music, everything from extreme metal to just pop rock and all the other things that kind of exist under the rock umbrella. This music, very much in the 21st century, is underground. Even music that in the 90s would be mainstream music is now very much underground music, and the whole rock genre has become very much a cult form of music. So I think if you spoke to almost anyone from the world of rock music, you would probably find them agreeing with you if you said to them, do you think it's frustrating that your music is not more widely appreciated? Mm-hmm. So I don't think I'm unusual in feeling that, but I think certainly that I've never felt that my music was difficult music to appreciate. I've never felt the music was like really hard understand or enjoy. So there's always been frustration that it hasn't been more available to just people that like good music to at least make up their own mind whether they like it or not. Yeah.
Absolutely. And actually talking about this exact topic, I would like to share with you one idea. I'm actually recently started playing and presenting music to the main organization for the blind people in Czech Republic in their central agency in Prague, and inviting blind people from Prague and anywhere from Czech Republic to listen to good quality music. And I'm actually presenting the sophisticated pop and prog rock. And I must say, on the first session, your song, actually from the 4.5 EP, Don't Hate Me, that part actually won the second place, and people were absolutely amazed by that song. I must say, I got this idea to play and present music to the blind people. I got this from our interview 2 or 3 years ago, when you were talking about the fact that people don't have actually enough time to concentrate and adequate environment to properly listen to the music. So I believe I found it with these people, and I might say exactly what we're talking about today. The most positive feedback I get is for sophisticated pop and prog rock, and you are one of their most favorite artists to listen to.
Wow, that's really wonderful to hear. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. That's amazing. I think,
yes.
Like you say, I've always felt that if you're able to engage with music like this, you get so much more out of it than you do from, mainstream pop music. And it seems to me that in the 21st century, the problem we have these days is simply one of time and being able to engage with things on a deeper level. There are so many things that distract us in modern life, from our cell phones to our email to whatever is going on in our daily lives. And I think that's something that has changed over the 50 or 60 years or so that people have been making rock and pop music, is that time gets shorter and attention spans get shorter and shorter. But if you are able, as you have been with these people, if you are able to engage people and actually have them listen and engage music on a deeper level, they get so much out of it. And I think that's still wonderful to hear that can still happen.
Yes. Stephen, is there any chance I can share a story that I wrote about this? It's online. Any chance to get some email on you?
Which story are you talking about?
The music for the blind.
Oh, I see. You can just send it to... How did you set this interview up?
It was a little bit more complicated. I got some... went through Universal Czech Republic and some people in the middle, so I might get lost in the translation.
Okay. Well, you can certainly send it to... hold on a sec. I'm just going to give you an email address here.
Thank you.
If you send it... Just bear with me a moment, so I don't get this wrong. Okay. Oh, no. Okay, so if you send it to... this is the girl that connected the call, Susanna. Send it to Susanna, so S-U-S... A-double-N-A, Susanna, dot Morrow, which is M-O-R-O, at caroline.com.
All right. Thank you for that. I will gladly share with you. And as our time is getting towards the end, I would like to ask you, as an excited movie fan, about how did you enjoy Interstellar from Christopher Nolan? I must say it was same as Black Queen, the top thing in the past 5 years for me.
Interstellar or Dunkirk?
Yes, Interstellar. Dunkirk was also amazing.
Interstellar wasn't my favourite Christopher Nolan film. My favourite Christopher Nolan film is Inception. I think it's amazing.
Yes.
And have you seen Dunkirk, the new one?
Absolutely. I went to IMAX and blown away as a big war movie fan, and the way how we approached this in a time, the atmosphere, the music. I must say the war movie for our generation. Brilliant work.
I thought it was incredible. I think it's a masterpiece. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. I did like Interstellar, but the story was. I found the story a bit ridiculous, but slightly slightly difficult to believe the story. But no, I think Christopher Nolan is a genius, and I think we've been talking about artists that continually evolve and continually change direction. There's a great example. I mean, this guy, he makes a superhero movie, he makes a science fiction movie, he makes a war movie, and every time he makes one of these movies, it's just a masterpiece. And that's a really, that's a real gift there, to be able to move, change direction and change genre, but still keep producing these extraordinary pieces of cinema. And very smart films as well. That's a genius right there. So yeah, I'm a massive Christopher Nolan fan, and also as you mentioned, the soundtrack, the Hans Zimmer soundtrack to Dunkirk is amazing. I love it. What's the name of this Dillinger Escape Plans guy's project again?
The Black Queen. I will definitely include that in an email that I'll be sending to Susanna.
Yeah, tell me. I'll check it out. It's electronic music.
Ambient, very, very deep. You surprised me very nicely, and I will gladly recommend it to you. Stephen, thank you for your time. I'll just reach my time and not block the other caller. Thank you for your time. It was again a very lovely interview, and all the best with the new album, and hope to see you soon in Czech Republic.
Thanks very much, Dan. Nice to meet you, buddy. Have a great day. Bye.
Cheers. Bye bye.